So many people here, and I know we're going to have more before we finish this call, so I don't want to waste a lot of time. I see a lot of familiar names and faces, so I'm really excited about this. Just for those of you who don't know, I'm Steve Becker, Vice President for Health and Wellness Services for JCC Association. Today's call, we're going to go over some housekeeping, just so that you understand how to navigate your screen. And then we're going to break you up into small groups so that, because we have so many people on this call, there's not going to be a chance for all of us to talk, but we're going to put you into breakout rooms, and you don't have to do anything but just join the room that you're sent this link to, and you will be talking to a group of 3 or 4 people, and you'll come back to us after a few minutes, and this is really just a chance for you to get to know each other. Then we're going to have you hear from some of our consultants. We have Audrey Edwards on the call from Boston, Jason Stowell from Pittsburgh, and Seth Hazen from Peninsula. All 3 are also JCC Association consultants. I apologize for that noise in the background. And I'm going to turn it over to Mackenzie, my colleague at JCCA, to go over some housekeeping rules. Mackenzie?
They're not so much rules as much as they are Zoom guidelines, because I know we have some Zoom veterans on the call, but also some participants that might not be too familiar with the tech. So really quickly, in the interest of time, I just want to go over a few of the features here. So number 1 is the mute button. As we just experienced with Steve, sometimes there's unintended background noise. So if you're not speaking at that moment, if you could go to the bottom left-hand portion of your screen, there's a mute and unmute button. So whenever you want to contribute, just feel free to unmute yourself. But for the majority of the meeting, please stay muted. At the top right-hand corner of your screen, there's a speaker view and a gallery view. That just lets you toggle back and forth with seeing all of our Brady Bunch tiles and isolating the speaker view. So you can play around with your own settings. If you are joining us on a computer, you have the feature to rename your tile. There are 66 of us on this call, which is amazing. If you're on a computer, please right-click your tile, use the rename option, and just if you could type your first name and maybe where the JCC or the city you're joining from, that would be awesome. If you're on an iPad or on iOS, you can go to the bottom part of your screen. There should be a participants button. Find your name, rename yourself, just so we can know who you are. And for the folks that are joining on the phone, don't worry about it. We will get you in the breakout rooms. There is a chat function at the bottom of the screen as well. So if you have questions at any time when we're doing the open Q&A section at the end, you can find that little speech bubble at the bottom and just type in, I'll be monitoring, or if you're having any trouble connecting. But yeah, thanks again. We're up to 72. This is unprecedented. It's awesome. It's nice to see all of you here, and thanks for joining us.
So we are going to throw you into breakout groups right now, and we want you to introduce yourselves, share with the people in your group where you're at, what you're going through, the state of your JCC. But beyond that, the only question we're going to ask is, what resources would you like from us, from outside, from each other, that would be helpful for you? I've been sending you a lot of emails. Les Mills, Peloton, I sent you all something today, 95 workouts you could do at home, everything under the sun. But what other things would be of value for your staff, for your community, and for yourself? So that's just a topic, but you don't have to. You're welcome to just get to know your group. And that chat feature down there is going to come in very handy, because we have so many people on this call that it's going to be unmanageable if everyone just chimes in a question. So if you can just take that opportunity to ask any questions you have there, and we'll just take them as they come. And without further ado, Mackenzie's going to throw you into your group. So enjoy.
All right, so what's going to happen? For most of you, there's going to be a button on the bottom of your screen to join the meeting room and the number that's assigned to you. Please go ahead and click that. For those of you on the phone, or if you don't find that button, don't worry. Zoom will automatically whisk you into the virtual breakout room. And then when it's time to wrap up, we'll give you all a 1-minute warning. And then you can either, again, choose to click rejoin the main group, or Zoom will do it automatically. And feel free, there's a little help button in each of the breakout rooms. If you're having any technical difficulties, please use that, and we'll see you in a bit. Thank you.
Can you help Kathy in Toronto get into their rooms?
Yep, it looks like our friends at Miles Nadal, they're just getting adjusted to their Zoom settings. Oh, there we go. Kathy, if you're having any trouble and if you can hear me, just let me know, type into the chat. You should be seeing a little button to whisk you into group number 5, I believe. So I'm going to just go ahead and try that again. And Heather, thanks for joining us. We are just moving, if you can hear me right now, we are just moving into breakout rooms. So I'm going to go ahead and put you in breakout room number 8. Perfect. And I see a few more people are joining us. If you can hear me, we are just now assigning everyone into smaller breakout virtual rooms. So as soon as you guys are connected to audio, I'm going to go ahead and assign you to a room. It should take you there in the next few seconds, or if you're joining us from a computer, please go ahead and click the join breakout room button when you see it. We'll bring you all, let us know if we can be helpful at any step of the way.
And before I turn it over to one of our team, I just want to remind you to think about what you would like from these calls going forward. The opportunity to use the chat if it's something you want to discuss now. We just got off of a call just a half hour ago with the aquatic directors, and we just ran out of time. We had a couple of people speak, and then we turned it over to all of you, and everyone had questions and everyone wanted to share. So just remember, this is just the beginning. This is the start. We have 75 people on this call right now, which is incredible. Going forward, we're going to try and break it down into much smaller groups so that there's going to be much more opportunity for interaction. And going forward, it's going to be a lot more of all of you talking and us learning and then sharing. But right now, we're going to get this started. We're going to start with our colleague from Boston, Audrey Edwards. I know a lot of you know her. She's also a consultant for JCC Association, and she's going to talk about members during these times. And so it is all yours.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, we're all, I think just from watching, I was telling my breakout group, I think we all are facing the same questions, the same issues, and following the listserv this week. I don't know about all of you, but my head was really spinning with how to reach out and how to keep in touch and provide our community what they need and what we need to do for them as their community center. So I think in looking in Greater Boston, I wish I had the answer and I could tell you all exactly what the best practice is and how you should implement programming that is going to be going on through your facilities. I can't. I think it's still a work in progress. I can tell you what we're doing in our process in Greater Boston and how we're kind of sifting through all the thoughts and material. I think one of the key questions we asked ourselves, and I encourage you, I'm going to start to talk fast because I know there's a lot going on here. I encourage you to ask yourselves is, what are your community needs and how can we provide it? And can we provide it? As you've all seen and Steve mentioned earlier, Les Mills has been really generous in offering free group fitness programming. Peloton has, I probably have a list and I'm happy to share it of 6 or 8 links or websites that are offering free programming, which I think is fine. I'm trying, and my team is trying to build more of a library with my staff who our members have relationships with. So we now have an agency calendar and we're taking it week by week, and every day we are filling slots with an adult fitness class, a class for parents and their children, different, all of our cohorts are populating the same, all departments are populating the same document so that as an agency, we know what we're putting out. We've given the okay today to our group fitness instructors, our Pilates instructors, and our trainers are putting together anywhere from 10 to 30-minute workouts, 10-minute stretch ideas. It looks like as of right now, it's probably going to live on a Facebook group, which means we can limit it just to members. I'm not deeply concerned about non-members having access to it. If somebody finds us and likes our instructors and likes our content, they'll join. So I think we'll probably do a combination of offering what's out there and offering kind of a sampling of what we do, including a lot of mind-body. It's been fairly nice here. So for us on the East Coast, a lot of people are outside, they're getting out. We're going to offer meditation, a lot of yoga, a lot of things to help reduce stress. Something else to consider, we run a really large Parkinson's program. I saw something from Cherry Hill. Our Parkinson's instructors are going to record 20-minute workouts, and all of these workouts require no equipment, by the way. And we're going to share the link with our Parkinson's participants because Facebook really isn't the way they would find us. So I think from a group fitness perspective, I feel like everybody's on the same page in doing this. The personal trainers, we have encouraged to reach out to their clients, as I'm sure many of you have, stay in touch, check in on them. We are waiting to hear back from our insurance people. I'm a little concerned about liability. When the trainers and the instructors are in our building working one-on-one, they're covered by our policies. I'm not sure about that if it's remote. Typically when trainers train outside the building, they have to carry their own liability insurance. So once we have the answer to that, my hope is that we can start doing some virtual programming with the trainers as well. But they are filming 20-minute clips that we will also plug into our master calendar. One last thought that I think is nice for the membership that we are also creating in Boston is we're going to create a Facebook group for Ask the Trainer, and we're opening up to all members, whether they're personal training clients or not. It'll be a Facebook group, again, open to everyone, and people can just send messages to us. I have 4 or 5 key staff that will manage this. Everybody will take a day and we'll just rotate through a calendar and give fitness tips, answer questions, just kind of be there for the community, which is what we do when our doors are open. So I think technology, what platform everybody uses, there's some really good JCCs that are already doing programming. We haven't started, but I know Atlanta is doing it. Cherry Hill is doing it. I think there's a lot of our colleagues, Tucson, Baltimore, I saw Scottsdale's about to start. Virginia and Austin is doing some great work. So I think through whatever platform we as a field use, we can get a lot of answers in what's working. And I think it's fluid. I think as we continue to go through this day by day, we're going to figure out what works best, what doesn't work best. And I would encourage all of us not to reinvent the wheel, to share best practices and to work together on this.
Thank you very much, Audrey. And as she said, please think about what are the resources that we can either collate for everyone or you want to share with your colleagues. And if you don't put it in the chat room, then follow up with an email to me, and I'll make sure that everyone hears about it. Now we're going to turn it over to Jason Stowell. I think you all know him. He is the star of the Fitness Business broadcasts and active participant on our listservs. And if you haven't heard him speak before, it's always a great opportunity. We're going to be telling you some things coming down the road. But right now I want to turn it over to Jason. He's going to talk about managing your workforce in times of disruption. So Jason, all yours.
Can everyone hear me? Good. I wish my wife was in here to hear you give me that intro, actually, Steve. So I'm more important than she thinks, I think. So hey, everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about managing your workforce through disruption. I have a document that I'm going to provide after the fact. So I heard a quote recently that was, innovation is something that when we do it, we call it innovation. When it happens to us, it's called disruption, right? And so I know all of us were aware that there were resources for working remotely. I'm also aware from my conversation in the field that a lot of us didn't implement things prior to the closures that just happened or are getting ready to happen. So what I've done is I've gone around and tried to aggregate from other agencies out in the field and the industry in general, some pieces to help us manage our workforce when we're working remotely. So there's two things that we have to establish before we can really manage our teams. One is you need to make sure you have a shared virtual workspace already established. That's either like a Google Drive, a Dropbox, maybe you have an intranet that you can get access through with a VPN. But your staff all needs to be able to access these shared documents. I'm sure your HR departments are probably scrambling as well to give you updated travel policies and procedures and work from home guidelines. Again, you need to be able to share this in a singular place as opposed to sending out emails to 25 people, 30 people at one time. So make sure you have a shared virtual workspace set up. You also need, number two, is the ability to hold and host virtual meetings. That could be either through Zoom, WhatsApp does a version of that, Office Suite Meetings does a version of that. I've heard a couple of other less known options out in the field. So if you have something that you love, please share it. But it's going to be really important that you stay consistent with your staff and that you have your one-on-ones with your Zoom calls and that you also have your all staff meetings, right? So this isn't going to look much different as far as if I were to look at my calendar this week, it should be fairly similar in meeting schedules as it was while I was in the office last week. So I'm going to give you a couple real quick things that you should be managing your staff with. One is make sure you're setting your expectations early and clearly, right? Everyone should know, because everyone, especially your staff, they're lost right now. They don't know what to do. Let's not assume that everybody knows how to work from home, right? It sounds obvious, but it's cluttered. There's dogs, there's cats, there's, you know, my morning ritual's completely disrupted now. I used to get my coffee and then take 15 minutes to center myself and then go. And now that's just not a thing in my life anymore, right? So set your expectations for your staff early and very clearly. Make sure you're scheduling your one-on-ones. I advise if you had a Monday at 1 p.m. with Carla, you keep your Monday at 1 p.m. with Carla. You know, make sure you keep that. Also, make sure you're scheduling your all staff meetings. We were doing it less frequently. Now we're trying to do it once to 3 times per week. I recommend you keep the same format, frequent check-in. You do want to give your staff guidelines and set availability and accountability, right? So if you expect them to work 9 to 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday, let them know that. You have to establish that. Don't just assume that they know that their hours before are the same as they are now. You want to stick to goals and deadlines. Same thing, right? If you gave somebody a task that they need to get you a virtual class schedule by Wednesday, you need to put that in writing through an email via WhatsApp, but make sure you keep very clear guidelines and timelines. And now is a good time to be assigning special projects, business plans, innovative ideas. You know, before the world stopped, I had spent all this money on Ursa statistics that are going to do us no good once we come out of this, right? We're absolutely going to be coming into a recession. Fitness has generally been recession resistant. It grew 4%, matter of fact, in 2008, because there are going to be opportunities. For example, we know that the current situation is affecting mostly our seniors with compromised systems. Once we get past this current state, I guarantee you that people in their 40s, 50s, 60s are going to be looking for fitness routines, health and wellness routines to improve their state of performance fitness. And they're going to be looking to us. They're in our facilities. They're not at the LA Fitnesses. These older populations, for the general portion, let's go to rec centers, YMCAs, JCCs. So I would begin and assign a special task to your staff to really start thinking about innovative programming that's going to address this new interest in our older populations. And I have a couple just little things to recommend. These are a little bit more unofficial things. As I said, if anyone listened to that podcast that I was on, I'm a big morning ritual person. I had a set piece that I had to do every day to kind of get myself in this sense. I recommend you do the same. Figure out what it's going to look like for you. If you're going to make your coffee, have your bagel, and then you're going to set up downstairs, just keep it. It'll help you immensely with handling stress and anxiety, I promise. This is going to sound a little bit mean, but you need to set rules with your family, right? Just because you're home, you know, Abby can't come running downstairs and ask me to do X, Y, and Z for her. She needs to understand that these are times that I have to be available to dedicate to work. And the last thing is make sure everyone establishes just clear and decluttered space. If your space is cluttered, you just can't think clearly. You're gonna be frustrated, and it's gonna affect your work, and it's gonna affect the work of your team as well. So again, I'm gonna share that basic document. It will evolve as we all innovate through this disruption. And the listserv is a fantastic tool. If you have anything to share, any ideas, anything that's working great, please, please, please put it out there, and we'll update this accordingly. Thanks, everyone.
Jason, thank you. Going to actually turn this over to Seth now, just to touch on some of the big questions that we've been seeing from the chat room, talking about paying your staff. Seth, if you're ready, it's all yours.
Sounds good. Hi, everybody. I'm the Chief Wellness Officer at the PJCC in Foster City, California. I'm also a JCC Association consultant. So I'm just going to speak very generally to this because we're all in different situations, but many of us have agreed or decided to pay staff for the next 2 weeks while we're closed, and then there's big question marks after that. I can't really speak to that because each area is going to be different on how long your center is going to be closed, and that's going to impact some of your decisions. But the way we worded our 2-week pay during this time is that we are expecting staff, as much as they can, to do work during this time. Will that apply to everybody equally? Certainly not. But hopefully you have some rock stars on your team that are passionate about being a part of your organization and a part of your community, and your team is reaching out to them to start getting some of these virtual classes going. We are actually going to extend their pay for those that do extra work. So during this time period, if we have 6 instructors teaching live classes a week or whatever it may be, and we have to be closed for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, what they work during this time period, we will then pay them extended through that extra closure. So staff that are not doing any work during this time period, again, we have not fully worked everything out either, but the way it seems like is that their pay would end, and we'd either be looking at doing layoffs, furloughs, or some other temporary unpaid time during that period. So that's how we're approaching it. For those of you that are on the membership listserv, I sent a very long email last night kind of outlining pay and how we're handling dues and fees of that nature. I'd be happy to forward that to the fitness listserv as well. But if you have any other questions, please let me know.
Thank you very much, Seth. Just one question for the field, and you can just raise your hand or just shout. Is there any JCC that is still open?
I just saw in the comments that somebody just closed right now.
Sorry about the question then. Okay, so now this is where I hope it doesn't get too unwieldy, but we want to hear from you. We want to know what we can be doing to help you, whether it's resources or whether it's doing this in smaller groups and how you want those groups broken up. If anybody would like to speak, please, at this point, I would just ask you to chime in.
This is Whitney from the JCC, representing the JCC Manhattan, and we've been closed since a week ago, Wednesday. Our staff has been told they will be paid through originally March 27th, and I know that our board is looking at all kinds of things. As both a fitness professional and someone working adjunct for our team, I just would appreciate, and I think others would as well, just as your JCCs come up with the choices you're making about pay and paying your instructors and trainers, sharing that. I know it's going to be different for every situation. Our instructors, in New York, this is how they make their living. It's a full-time job for them. So that's definitely of a concern for both the board and the JCC staff as well as the individuals. So any ideas and transparency on that, I think, will be appreciated. And this was just a great call to be a part of, so thank you.
I hear from you, Whitney. I hope you're doing okay. Anyone else? Any question that you want to get out to this group now?
There we go. Shannon Hollinger at the JCC in Salt Lake City. We are just getting a lot of pushback from our executive team and marketing, and always have, about social media platforms and which platforms we, the fitness department, can use. Currently, we're having to push all of our stuff through one marketing person, and then she's slowly, you know, putting it all out there. She's being bombarded from our ECC, from, you know, even maintenance to post stuff. How do we get our exec to agree to allow us to have more control on that with pushing stuff out to our membership base? And I'm just wondering what other JCCs are doing and what formats they're allowed to use would be helpful.
I can't speak to how you're going to convince your exec, but I can speak to a little bit about what we're doing individually. I mean, certainly our marketing team is very, very similar. They want to have everything controlled and flow and branded, and to be the excellent standards that we've been putting out for a long time. However, we quickly realized that that would be a challenge in this kind of work environment with everybody remote and just the number of requests. And so they've loosened up on that. It took a day or so of talking and convincing, and I think most of them were already there anyways. But we essentially now are just linking to our individual staff's Facebook pages or their Instagram accounts and restreaming it or streaming it in conjunction with the personal accounts. And we're not worrying about the whole branded and just the themes and all of that. We'll get to that down the line if this extends. Separate from that, I think Audrey touched on it. Since this is bigger than just fitness, it's your whole center that's providing online options.
I'm sorry, we're having an earthquake again.
What?
Arizona's been having earthquakes all morning.
Salt Lake City had an earthquake this morning, and
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go see if my kids are okay.
All right.
Seth, thank you. That information would
No
be
problem.
really
Be safe.
helpful in an
Be safe.
email or anything, but thank you.
Yep. So just the last part of what I was saying is that we are using an Excel spreadsheet online through the Office 365 tools, and all of the departments are working on that, so that we're creating a list of all the online offerings that we're going to be doing, and then our marketing team is working off that to prioritize and figure out how they can help with those efforts.
And I think I'm comfortable with that in Boston. I think the consistency with the brand and the messaging is really important. And we just started populating our spreadsheet today. But I can see just with the conversations and how it's being populated, I believe it's going to work. And it's also taken a lot of the immediate urgent work off of the marketing team, who's absolutely slammed, and allowed them to kind of be planful for the week. It's a much more thoughtful way to plan.
In Pittsburgh, we had already started doing some, trainers shooting videos with their clients, and some of you have seen the trainer versus trainer videos that we put up. So we had conditioned our staff to somewhat cultivate material to supply to we had a closed fitness Facebook group already. Now we're basically just scaling what we were already doing now, and we're creating little teaser videos with our instructors. We're actually setting up a virtual class schedule. I know that Mark and Orange County, they're streaming live classes, and we're looking to do the same thing. We're doing little fun tips of, not everything is fitness related. It's going to be like how to make healthy choices with a limited food supply in your closet, right? We have this mindfulness piece meditation that's happening in the mornings as well. So I can share the link to our Facebook group, and I think you'll get some ideas from there, because it's been working well for us now.
Hi, this is Amanda in Cherry Hill. How is everybody? Hope you're well. I just wanted to throw in there that we created, through our private Facebook group, a #JTownTV channel where we're posting, like Seth had said, there's a marketing schedule where all of our staff are putting down what they want to do. They're attaching their links to it, and it's being forwarded to marketing, and they are scheduling throughout the day on what hour, what thing is being posted. And it seems to be working well for us. If you want access to that page, Stephanie Dworkin is our admin on that page. Just let her know you're from another JCC, a staff member from another JCC, and she'll give you access so you can kind of see what's going on, doing some fun kind of kid stuff along with all of the fitness things. As far as our Parkinson's program, we are live Zooming with our Parkinson patients and participants because they already have paid for a lot of programming prior to this. And it's Zoom, it gives them the private option to do so. Our instructors know who those people are, and then they send them the immediate invite so that not anyone and their brother could sign on. And then our instructors for that programming are getting paid. We're keeping track of that. And anyone that's doing live feed or posting videos, we're asking them to write down the hours they're spending on it. Of course, it's a honest program, so to speak, but we are going to compensate them accordingly after the 2 weeks that we are paying our staff is up. So I just wanted to share that. Again, it's CATS JCC in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It's CATS JCC members on Facebook if you want to take a look, and Stephanie Dworkin is our admin.
Awesome. I wanted to add to that. I don't remember if it was the membership listserv or the fitness listserv, but Chris Strom, he's the chief operating officer. I can't remember at what JCC, I'm sorry. But he has a link, and I'll forward it just in case it didn't go to fitness, but he's building an online database from all the JCCs that I believe the intent of that is to have us share all of our classes, right? Like if Boston is doing something or Cherry Hill is doing something, there's no reason not to open that up to JCCs all around the country and allow members to view those workouts throughout the week. So I'm pretty sure that was what the intent of it is. I will send it on to fitness if you guys did not get that email.
Chris is at the Metro West JCC, and he actually used to be with JCC Association before that, and he was our social media director. So he is actually doing that in conjunction with our marketing department. So it's going to be available through them and through us. So you'll be seeing information about that shortly. Marketing is figuring out how best to do that right now. Before I continue, anybody else want to just share what's going on in your site?
I don't want to share, but I have a question, Steve. Have you reached out to any of our vendors to see if we could somehow get some sort of a program code so that our participants could buy discounted at-home equipment that we could then do like a stability ball class or a band class?
I haven't, and I'm glad to. I do know that a lot of smaller facilities, I don't know if he's doing this yet, are renting their equipment. CrossFit Box has said, come down and for a very cheap price, come get a couple of kettlebells, come get a couple of dumbbells, whatever you want, whatever is reasonable, a medicine ball. And that's something that you could do for your members and just make sure you keep track of everything. But I will reach out to some of our vendors. And to that point, if there's anything else that you would like for me to do with our national account vendors, because the reality is it's going to be better for you to go through your local partners, whoever that is, Matrix, Precor, and see what they're going. Not going to happen from a national person, but I'm going to put that on their radar as something for them to consider, because I think it is a great idea.
Steve, I'm happy to share with the group what Atlanta's doing. I'm fortunate enough to be joined by a good handful of my team on this call, and they've been working tirelessly to upload workouts, to do their own workouts. Your resources have been great. We've started to incorporate at-home family workouts, trying to thread them into the idea of joining camp as well in the future. You know, Valerie Chambers, who's on this call, and Rachel Reinhardt are pretty much seen with families at home all the time, and emails and the Facebook stuff we've been getting has been a tremendous response. But I encourage everyone to try and engage the entire family unit if possible. And you know, we're proud of doing the best we can from here and making sure we're in constant contact with our members. So happy to answer any questions, or happy to volunteer our team to answer any questions as anyone needs.
And just thank you, Zach. And just FYI, similar to the information and resources that I shared with Peloton and those 95 at-home workouts with fitness, I also shared family activities, family exercises to do with the sports and rec and the after-school listservs. So if this is something that you'd like to see, it's not a problem for me to include you on that as well. I'll just send it out to you, and you decide what you want to do with it. But it's just to what Zach was talking about. These are activities for the whole family. It's for all ages. And we are actually working with CATCH, which is, if you don't know, the Coordinated Approach to Child Health, and one of the programs that they gave to us that we turned into Discover CATCH, and then it's in a lot of your JCCs now. There's going to be resources for you to do CATCH activities or for your members and their families to do it as well. So that's going to be coming very shortly. Anyone else before we wrap this up? So one of the opportunities that this affords us is for you and your staff to get new expertise and certification and things that you either currently aren't or would like to recertify. So that's something for you to think about sharing with your staff. SCW, and I'm sure you all know who they are, have all of those mini conferences that go on. They're moving almost all of their content online for certification, and I'll send you the link. It's, you know, that it's everything under the sun, including some aquatic certifications through their Water in Motion program. Another thing is that there are going to be webinars through us and through outside sources that are going to be very useful for you. Fitness Business is going to be doing a podcast this Friday, and I think it's going to be available on Saturday. And they're bringing in a half a dozen experts in the field, not for-profit or non-for-profit necessarily, but just some of the big names in the field, talking about what to do to be ready when we do get to reopen. And we'll get you that link as soon as that's available for everyone. And anything else, I'm just encouraging you all to share with all of us when you're aware of it. Going forward, I already saw one person request that we do this again and break you up into smaller sizes of communities. And I'm going to follow up with a survey to see what the majority would like. And we will hear from you, and we will try and meet whatever those needs are. I don't know if any of my consultants have anything they want to say before they wrap up, but this is a fast hour, and going forward, we're going to be looking to you for a lot of the content, and I really appreciate all of you for taking time in your day. Anything from my team?
The only thing I'll add is
Okay.
I'm getting like some unbelievably awesome, great questions. I tend to get the same question 15 times. And so in this unprecedented time, I would suggest that we all share openly. So don't be shy, put it out to the field, let everyone weigh in. I always like that quote that none of us are as smart as all of us. So just put it out there in the ether and see what comes back.
I think what might be helpful, to Jason's point, there are so many emails going back and forth with the listserv. I know that JCCA does a nice job of pulling everything together. I wonder if there's, I'm kind of asking Mackenzie, although I can't see her face, if there's a way for us to kind of, I guess maybe JCCA is the place where they should all live, but it would be nice maybe if maybe the header of the subject line of all the questions or the emails was there was some thematic way to keep it easier. Stop laughing at me. I'm a little overwhelmed by the volume of email, so I agree, but I would love to be able to categorize it, I guess.
Laughing because there's been this resource.
It doesn't work for me, though, I know.
Years called jcca.me, and they are being plated there. You just need to go to.
Yeah, okay.
And I will say, what I didn't say well earlier is as all of this information comes in and as we're all trying to sort it and find what we're specifically looking for in the mass of emails, I just always go back to personal connection. So if you have a specific resource that you know is out there and you can't find it on jcca.me or any of the other platforms, email me. It's very easy for me to sift through that stuff and pull information. Similarly, we can connect you with colleagues on the screen today. If you remembered something that one of your colleagues mentioned, or maybe from the breakout groups, email us personally and we'll help connect you. That's really what we're trying to do here. We are figuring it out alongside of you, but we promise to do our best, and we promise to build community even in this weird virtual space. And yeah, we're here for whatever you might need.
The last thing I would ask of all of you is, if you didn't register officially through that link, please, so that we know who's on this call. We are not able to get everyone's name on this, and except for that registration, and a lot of you did and most of you did, it would be nice, so then I can follow up possibly with an email just to this group rather than to the entire fitness listserv, because it may not be relevant. It may be something that we just touched on, whether it was today or going forward. So please go back to that original link that invited you, and at the bottom of the invitation is just a place for you to register, because I think we had about 50 people registered and about 75 people on the call. So I want to stay connected with all of you. And if there is nothing else, we have all of the chat questions and feedback saved. This recording, this Zoom call was recorded, so we're going to share this with the field. And I can't thank you enough. And together we're going to get through this. But I really appreciate everything all of you are doing. So stay safe, take care, wash your hands, and stop touching your faces.